Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Monday, December 12th, the year of our Lord 2022. And the IRS has some warnings for us. Maybe you should hold off filing that tax return for 2022. And we're going to talk a little bit about that on today's episode. Won't you join us? Yes. The IRS is always telling us, file early. Get your refund. File early. But this year they're saying, better not file early. Why? Because there's going to be some documents that you didn't expect that you're going to get, that you're going to need for your tax return. And if you file them without them, you're going to get the CP 2000, which says, hey, this is what we found. This is what you told us, and this is what we found. And you may owe money. Now, you can go back and undo it, but it's going to take a lot of time and effort and headache on your part. I've been telling people about this. I've been warning people about this. Now, remember last week or the week before, I did a story about a Democratic congressman from here in Illinois. Now, many of the Republicans, remember, not one Republican voted for it. So I think all the Republicans, once they take over, they'd be able to overturn this. Some of the Democrats are trying to get in front of it for the lame duck session and reverse it and make it from $600 to $5,000. Now remember, it used to be $20,000. They want to change it to, and then they changed it to $600. They want to change it to $5,000. I don't think that's enough. I'd like to see it back to $20,000. But I think they're trying to kind of preempt this, try to get the change in before the new Congress comes in. Because the new Congress may undo it all. I hope they do, to be honest with you. But that's the story. There's another story, a breaking story. Right before as I was coming on, I got a notice on my phone. So just bear with me here, and I'm gonna talk about, because my last story was about FTX. Last Thursday we did a story about FTX, and so I wanted to. So there's breaking news on this. So let's go. Maybe we should go to that first. Let's go to that first, and let's go to that first. Okay. So here it is. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in the Bahamas after U.S. files criminal charges. Now, here's what I have to say about that. It's about time. It's about time. He obviously was some fraud. Well, to me, it's obvious. Maybe it's not to others. Maybe legally it's not fraud. I don't know. But obviously it should be questioned. He should have been questioned. And so I'm glad to see that at least they're going to question him and have brought charges against him. Many people have lost their life savings, and so someone should be held accountable. That's just the way it is. So, but here's the story I was going to talk about before I got that. I wanted to mention that, though. Hard for me to go on without mentioning that story, since we've been talking about that story. So here it is. Early filers should wait to submit their tax return in 2023, the IRS warns. Here's why. I'm not going to read these because every time I read those, the story has everything in it. If you're eager to file your 2022 tax return in January or early February, I think that now they said it's going to open. I have it in the notes. January 24th, Monday, January 24th, they're supposed to be accepting and processing tax returns. The IRS has a warning. You'll need to wait for key documents before filing in 2023. What kind of key documents do you think they're talking about? In a release last week, the IRS urged early filers to watch for Form 1099-K. That's what we've been talking about, which reports income from third-party payment networks such as Venmo or PayPal. A little extra caution could save time and effort, the agency said, because if you don't report 1099 income, you may owe money and need to file an amended return, or you might not owe any money and you just need to explain it. That's what I've been talking about. I would recommend waiting until at least the end of February and early March, said this accountant. That means tax filers should build in a little time to allow for slow or misdirected mail. If you've recently moved, for example, it's possible third-party payment networks still have your previous address on file and send 1099-Ks to the wrong address, he said. Experts say many Americans will receive 1099-Ks for the first time in the upcoming tax season. Here's why. Before 2022, the federal Form 1099-K reporting threshold was more than 200 transactions worth an aggregate above $20,000. So $20,000 and 200 or more transactions. But the American Rescue Plan slashed the threshold to just $600, and even a single transaction can trigger the form. While I worry about self-preparing taxpayers who may not understand what's reported on their 1099-K and why. Well, I do too, and this is what's been my concern all along. The IRS is shifting the responsibility for reporting to taxpayers, right? All of these reporting to taxpayers. Now, we're not even talking about. It's good. There's many other changes that are coming and have been implemented that are really shifting the burden to taxpayers. While the change targets business transactions such as part-time work, side jobs, or selling goods, it's possible some filers will receive 1099-Ks for personal transfers. The IRS urges filers to contact issuers immediately to fix errors or make adjustments on returns. Remember, the IRS said that they won't change them. You have to go through them. If there's an error, the IRS won't help you. You have to go back to the company and make them, and they're going to be inundated. Watch it. The diligence and accuracy of the 1099-K reporting under the new lower threshold remains to be seen. I worry about self-preparing taxpayers who may not understand what's reported on their 1099-K and why. Now, that problem will affect more people. That's absolutely true. When filing your return, it's important to accurately report details from all tax forms, such as the W-2 from your job, the 1099 NEC forms for contract work, and 1099-G from unemployment income. Known as information returns, these forms are sent to taxpayers yearly by employers and financial institutions to report taxable activity, with copies going to the IRS. Your tax return should match these forms, assuming the details are correct. When the IRS receives your income directly from reporting companies, the system automatically flags mismatching returns. That's why it's better to wait and include the correct details, experts say. Otherwise, you'll risk possible error notices and penalties later. You might not even have any penalties, but the headache is going to be worth more than the penalties. Believe me. She says that it's easy to miss forms for investment income since many opt for paperless records. One way to double check with the forms the IRS has received is by logging into your online account to see your IRS transcripts, she suggested. But that won't be there early. That won't be there until after April, generally. Unfortunately, the IRS doesn't publish taxpayer wage and income transcripts until later in the year. Didn't I just say that? That's why a lot of people are saying we should ask for an extension. Those transcripts are fantastic resources for checking for missed tax forms, including third-party payment reporting discrepancies, she said. Well, that's true. Again, that's all true. And these forms are, again, they're crucial. And this is what I've been warning about since the beginning of this. With the and again, the IRS kept saying, "Well, it's not a new tax. It's not a new tax." No, it's not a new tax, but it's going to cause a lot of problems, and it's going to, because people don't understand it, and they're going to be misreported. It's inevitable that they're going to be misreported because they're supposed to only be good for goods and services. But how does PayPal know if it's a goods or service? Well, I told them one way or another. Remember, this is for people who the IRS thinks is cheating. So if I'm going to cheat and all I have to do is say, hey, this is personal, and that would be enough, what would be the point of all this? The answer is there wouldn't be a point. So they're going to report it. You're going to have to explain it, and you're going to have to explain to the IRS where that extra money came from. again, whether it was, selling something at a loss. Most people who sell things at a garage sale or on eBay or something, they're taking a loss on that because they're selling it for less than they bought it for. So there's no profit there. But if I don't have the proof of what I paid for it, how is the IRS going to know if it's a profit or not? If I have a guitar and I sell it for $900 and I bought it for $1,500, how is the IRS going to know that? The answer is they're not going to know, right? So you're going to have to explain it. Good luck with that. This is what's going to cause a lot of problems. I still think, and I'm hoping that we get a bill in Congress that undoes all this before tax time. They can make it retroactive. They've done it before. It causes a lot of headaches. But how many more headaches can we get that we've had for the last couple of years? And they're waiting. This year again, tax day is April 18th for the same reasons it's been recently. I don't know why. It just seems like it's the April 18th date keeps popping up because April 15th falls on a Saturday. That means it's the next day, April 17th. And Emancipation Day then is going to be celebrated in Washington, D.C. on April 17th. So that pushes the due date to April 18th, Tuesday. So anyway, that's where we are. So thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time. I thought this was a good story that you should know about. And so I figured I'd tell you about it. Remember, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. We need your help to get this information out. Please help us. Like and subscribe. And remember, if you have IRS problems, if you have unfiled tax returns, if you owe the IRS money and you don't know what to do, well, here's what you should do. First thing you should do, get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com. Get your free copy. I will pay for the printing. I am going to ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. It's a small fee. I think it's $9.90 or something like that. Under $10. So, and you get a lot of bonuses too. For instance, I'll send the 4 things you need to know if you have unfiled tax returns. The 6 things you should know. The 6 ways you can do. The 6 things you can do if you owe the IRS money. The 3 things you should never say to the IRS. These reports and other reports are all free. They're part of the package. Again, I pay for the printing. I ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. So thanks so much for joining us here today. I appreciate it. We'll see you again here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Crypto Tuesday. You won't want to miss it. So thanks so much, and we'll see you again tomorrow. God bless you. Out.